to our final question. How can I best manage my focus or energy? So to all you guys attending, if you filled out the form to register for this, I asked, do you have any questions for Claire? And over again, I saw some version of, now I got to monitor a Slack, a Basecamp, a Zoom, my email. I'm being overwhelmed. I can't focus. And by the way, I have to homeschool my kids while I'm doing this. So that kind of energy and focus is frayed. So I'd love to know some things, you do or you recommend. One example I got reading some of your writing was the company-wide doc of how we work, right? Like these are focus times, these are not focus times, setting boundaries. I would love for any example like that, how the individual or the company can stay focused.
Absolutely. So on a company level, I think the most important thing to realize is that people and your team's energy and focus is finite, meaning that you don't just add on work and add on goals and KPIs and all of a sudden they just continue to get hit. It's this idea of a trade-off that is finite energy. And so because of that, thinking really deeply as leaders of, well, what am I actually saying in a team that is most important to get done? That is where it starts. We as leaders so easily confuse what is sort of the team's highest use. And so we feel depleted. Our team feels depleted because we are doing way too many things that are not actually truly critical to the task and to the vision at hand. So that's where it starts, is getting super clear on what's most important and understanding that energy and focus is finite in your team. The second thing, I mean, and you alluded to this, Sean, is, gosh, are we carving out time to give people to actually be focused? That's the other thing. You can't get work done when you're in a meeting, right? You can't get work done when you're responding to the million Slack DMs that people, every single team member saying, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? So thinking about, and, very practical ways that companies have done this is, they take a whole day. One of our clients just recently implemented this actually, and Wednesdays are no meeting days, just no meetings allowed. They're like illegal in the company, right? And you can do your own version of that, right? But the premise is creating, actually ensuring that the work structure matches the intent that you have for the way you want people to actually work. So that's sort of and you mentioned the write-ups, right? So being really clear and documenting, well, how do you match the message to the channel? How are we actually thinking about being asynchronous? All of that, codifying that in a document. Again, the remote guide goes super in depth to this. I have a ton of examples, but high level, those are some good practices on an org level. As an individual, it's interesting. I think the sort of gnawing, restless, tired feeling, right? Fatigue that we feel from doing way too many things is honestly, first of all, the result of just doing way too many things. So kind of similarly on an organizational level, we have to personally reflect, well, what is actually most important? Am I saying I need to get all of these things done just because I said I should be, or what is truly critical here? So that's one piece. I think after you do that, you might actually even be a little more overwhelmed because you realize, actually, I do have to get all those things. I've been in that place, and that's completely understandable. So then the next question to ask is, well, if you cannot reduce your scope of what you have to get done and your energy and your focus is finite, then what are the ways in which you can actually restore that energy and focus? And one of the best ways is, yes, you can try to carve out some time, for yourself every day. Maybe that's 10 minutes, maybe it's 5, whatever it is, right? And there's sort of a lot of advice that's around that. But another thing to do, another thing to do is to actually try to reconnect with the thing that most energizes you about the work in the first place. So a lot of things I'll oftentimes ask leaders and individual contributors to reflect on is, when you first took this job, right? When you said yes and signed your letter of intent or whatever it is, right? You likely felt pretty excited and jazzed about what you were doing. Okay, why? Like, what was it? What was the hope? And now you might feel a little bit more jaded, or you're just too overwhelmed, right? But there was something, right? And maybe it's changed. But I think and this is something I try to do a lot. I'm the CEO of a company, and God, it's hard. This stuff, it's hard. I
Yeah.
get tired. And what helps me recharge is, yes, taking time for myself. Yes, making sure I'm not working, making sure I'm getting away. Yes. And also trying to reconnect with, well, what did energize me? What does make this role, this job fun?
I've noticed a lot of managers I've had, they maybe do like
Yeah.
5 or 10% of their time carving out stuff where if you approach them like, hey, isn't this not the best use of your time? And they'd be like, I don't care. I really love doing this and it's fun. So, but like, it could be writing, like you mentioned your level of like writing, blog posts and sharing that
Exactly.
information.
Exactly.
Some managers will hop on a sales call every now and then just to show the kids they still got it, things like that.
Totally. So whatever that is that, you just have really, that you loved originally, to sort of fall in love with that part of your job again.